Saturday, July 25th, 2020, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I consider this video today important for everyone around the world who holds extra fiat currencies or national currencies. Yes, there's talk right now of the dollar being weak, that it's dropped through key support levels in the dollar index, and it has. But I've spoken about this several times. Some of you already have listened to this, but as I get new viewers, I need to remind people that looking at the dollar versus the euro or the Chinese yuan or the Japanese yen or any other major currency is like comparing or considering whether I should stay on the Titanic or I should stay on the Lusitania. They're all sinking ships, as I've spoken many times before in the past. I even wrote about it back in 2007 when I kept a blog. I don't have that blog anymore, but it's saved here on this website, marketoracle.co.uk. You can see there, currencies, they're all sinking. It was even part 2 of a series of articles where I reminded people that national currencies are all sinking versus real money or gold. And you can also see here from Incrementum's report, latest report, In Gold We Trust report, you can see that since 2001, all the major currencies have lost on average 10.3% every year versus gold. So, it's a distraction. People like the people who espouse the dollar milkshake theory. Yes, the dollar might, in the short term, be strong versus the other major currencies, or it might be weak like it is now. But in the end of the day, all the currencies are sinking versus gold. They just take turns. Right now, it looks like it's the dollar's turn to sink a little faster. But I'm going to show you some charts later on of all the different prices of gold in different currencies and how they're actually also making all-time highs right now, even though you would think they weren't, because the dollar is so weak and the euro's been strong, the pound and other currencies. So before I show you those charts, I want to go through the history of the dollar index, because we know that in 1971, President Nixon, shut the gold window on August 15th. He suspended temporarily the convertibility of the dollar at a fixed rate in gold, $35 per 1 troy ounce. And most people at the time, from what I've read, thought that this would be temporary. And if you remember well, during the Bretton Woods, or if you don't remember, the Bretton Woods system was that the dollar was fixed to gold and all the other currencies are fixed to the dollar. So indirectly, they were fixed to gold. And that had never happened before, where the major reserve currency became paper, no anchor. So there was a period there between 71 and 73 where people thought the fixed exchange rates could survive, but they didn't, of course, because there was no anchor. Different countries, different governments printed more than others. There was no limit, so the currency started fluctuating. So on March 1973, the USDX started. So, and it says here, soon after the dismantling of the Bretton Woods system, at the start, the value of the US dollar index was 100. So, yeah, it has fluctuated a lot in the past, but we're pretty much where it was when it started. And it was just something to measure all the sinking currencies against the dollar. That's all it was. But the dollar itself has been sinking, as we know. So that's the history of the dollar index. It's just a tool to help investors in a world where there is no monetary anchor, where all the currencies are sinking, the dollar included. So now I'm going to show you a chart of the dollar index. And I've spoken about this quite a bit in the last couple of years because we had a top in January 2017, as you can see here. And I said that that would be a major top only because there seems to be a cycle in the dollar index going back to 1969. I know it was created in 73, but you can extrapolate the value back to 69. So you see there's a top in Q3 69. And then there was a major bottom in 1978. So it took about 9 years. That was the cycle. And then from 78, it topped in 85. That was a short cycle, shorter, 7 years. And then from 85, that was the Plaza Accord top, I think. Then it bottomed in 1992. That was another 7 years. And then from 1992, it topped in 2001. So that was 9 years, that one, a little longer. And then in 2008, it bottomed again at 70. That's the all-time low of the dollar index, 70.69 to be exact. And then in 2017, we got another 9-year cycle top at 103.82. So 2008 plus 9, 2017. And that's why I called that top. I've called it for the last couple of years. Mainly because we've never seen a cycle more than 9 years. We haven't seen a cycle less than 7 years. So the average is kind of around 8 years. So I've said that I expect the dollar to keep going lower versus the other fiat currencies until around 2025. It could be a little before or after. But that doesn't mean that I'm encouraging people to hold other fiat currencies, especially the euro or the pound, the yen, or the Swiss franc. It's just that the dollar is probably going to sink a little faster compared to the other currencies, but versus gold. And this is where it gets really interesting and why I think people need to focus on having precious metals and not diversifying through fiat currencies. I agree, maybe multinational corporations, big companies that need to use different national currencies. They might want to cut their holdings of dollars right now, increase it towards others. But for savers, investors, and even big corporations, they should think about having some gold to neutralize the debasement of all the national currencies. If you look at the dollar index, then back in 2008, it bottomed just above 70 at 70.69, and now we're around 94.34. That's been an increase of 34%. So the dollar, yes, has done well in the last 12 years versus all the other fiat currencies. But if you look at gold, gold made an all-time high at the time in 2008. Right around the time the dollar index bottomed there at 1,031. And yesterday gold closed at 1901. So that's been a gain of 84%. So if you just stuck to following the dollar index, if you hedged other national currencies through being long the dollar index, yes, you've done okay, 34%. But you've missed 50% if you were in gold. So there you go. Yeah, dollar index, in my opinion, is a big distraction. It's like a contest to see which sinking ship am I going to get on instead of getting on the lifeboat of gold. So let's have a look at the charts of gold and all the different currencies. I'm going to start with the dollar, US dollar, because it's been a pretty historic week, I would say. Of course, we haven't broken through 1920 yet. I think it's just a matter of time. But as you can see here, the highest weekly close as well in gold. It's never closed at these levels on a monthly or a weekly basis. Of course, the month of July is not over yet, so we'll have to wait and see until this coming Friday. So yeah, if we close above 1825 next Friday, that will be the highest monthly close. Right now, it's looking pretty good. We are at 1901. So the next fiat currencies I wanted to show you, just to show you that it's not just the dollar making historic moves here, that actually the price of gold in British pounds is making all-time highs right now, even though the dollar isn't, and even though the dollar has been weakening against these currencies. That's why you need to scratch underneath the surface and look carefully. Same thing for the euro. You'd think the euro would not be making all-time lows versus gold, or gold wouldn't be making all-time highs, but it is, as you can see by the charts. So now let's go to the Swiss franc and the Canadian dollar. Wow, you know, the Canadian dollar as well, same thing, as you can see, the Swiss franc. So all these currencies are making new lows versus gold, or gold making new highs versus these major currencies. Let's have a look at the Japanese yen and the Chinese yuan. Amazing, isn't it, the moves here? You can see the Japanese yen is above 200,000. I think that's even broken the 1980 high that gold made, around 200,000. Look at the yuan. I mean, the yuan, up until recently, we hadn't made a new all-time high, or gold hadn't made a new all-time high, but look how it's breaking out. And I expect the same thing to happen to the US dollar soon. Now the currencies, the fiat currencies down under, the Antipodean currencies, you've got the Aussie dollar and the New Zealand dollar. Actually, they are not making new all-time highs, but they've been sinking a lot faster in recent years. So that's why this is happening, I would say. And I would also say that Australia, being a big holder of natural resources, helps. So there you go. And now to finish off, a couple of emerging market currencies, Brazil and India, major emerging markets, of course. China, of course, is the biggest. As you can see, the Brazilian real is sinking as well. It had sunk to its lowest level a couple of months ago, but gold is resuming its move higher versus that currency as well. So here's the Indian rupee. Gold is making all-time highs as well in terms of Indian rupee. So there you go. Don't be fooled. Don't be distracted by the movements amongst national fiat currencies, by the dollar index, dollar strength, dollar weakness. I think what's more important to focus on is that national currencies are all sinking versus gold, real money. And it's going to continue to do so. I don't see fundamentally any change in that story, unless we start seeing the central bankers raise interest rates, we start seeing governments increase taxation, cut spending, basically the opposite of what they've started doing in the beginning of the year, or actually have been doing for ever since the 08 crisis in spades. It's getting just a bit worse right now, and that's why this sinking is going to continue. So hold on to your precious metals, unless, of course, you're trading paper, gold and silver, then that's a different story. There you go. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button, share it far and wide. Think about subscribing to the channel if you haven't yet. And you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and all these other platforms below here. I wish you all a great weekend. Take care. Bye.